It always sucks when a game you love adds in more microtransactions and they end up being super pay to win. Luckily, in this case, it only affects very endgame PvP stuff that I don't really care about. But before it leaks into the rest of the game, I'd like to show off some content that I actually enjoy from this game. Michael here, and today we're going to be playing through some Monster Super League. In fact, we're going to be playing very specific content called the Tower of Chaos. One of the reasons I like this game is the fact that the gameplay is actually fun, and so the Tower of Chaos is a great example of that because it has set up levels where you go through and it has very specific ways to kind of beat each stage. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to end up playing through it before the game ends up getting destroyed and I end up not playing it because it ends up being too pay to win and golden gatey. And it's already getting pretty bad, but at the same time, it's not as bad as a lot of mobile games, at least not ones that I've looked at and enjoyed, and this game still has a lot of good quality. So we're going to go ahead and skip through the airship stuff. If you've never played this game, I have a full review of it and stuff like that. I am going to check if we have a Seira dungeon available. We do! I'll explain the mechanics real quick while we're murdering her. So basically, there's a special event right now. The reason why I'm actually making videos is because this is like their 1 year anniversary or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I actually want to go through it. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So basically, it is a turn-based action game. So if you've never played it, boom, click on things and they, well, tap on things and they murder it. Now, this is a mobile game. I am playing it. Normally, I play it on my Galaxy S7, but normally, when I am actually recording, I like things to be a higher quality and a better resolution, and I don't like having 7 FPS to actually record things because the phone's absolutely terrible for recording stuff. Gotta say that right now. So I'm running this on an emulator, which does have some issues. I'm kind of switching around emulators, trying to figure out which one is the best for recording. Right now, the one I'm using has problems with audio crackling, and every once in a while it crashes. So if the game randomly crashes, that'll be fun, but I don't think it will. I don't know. I feel like I've fixed it so far. Also, on my recording software, I hit the mouse, and so you can't actually see my mouse. So it actually looks like I'm tapping on the screen. Haha, that's funny, right, guys? Not really. It's a thing that happens. But yeah, I actually enjoy this game a lot because while this gameplay is going to be pretty lame at the first start because I have super overpowered mons, maybe I should end up switching it up and have some like weaker mons. The only reason I'm doing this is because there's a time limit on these. This game has a ton of time limited stuff, so it's like, oh hey, you have like an hour to end up doing this dungeon, so I'm going to go ahead and do this just because these guys are super freaking hard to find. It took me 3 days to even find one, and that's another problem with the game is that it's all RNG, and so everything you have to go through and play a bunch of stuff to actually get it. But each different mon, as we call them, they're actually called, in the game, they're called Astromon. But basically, each different Mon actually has different abilities that they have on their attacks. And they all have different attacks and stuff like that. And they also have different variants of the same one, so there'll be different elements. Such as Water Pool Girl over here called Marie. She actually has a water variant as well. And so her water variant has different skills. But basically, they have different effects and things like that. And so it kind of becomes like a rock, paper, scissors almost sort of thing. Not necessarily rock, paper, scissors, because there's a lot more to it. But at the same time, it's actually really interesting to kind of put your teams together and kind of build it that way. And it's Monster Collection. Anyways, here's the Tower of Chaos. And so it goes all the way up to floor 70, I believe. Yep, floor 70. We probably won't get there, but what you have to do is basically go in the order. And it kind of reminds me of the old Mortal Kombats where it's like, pick your fight. And then you kind of fight up the tower up to the top boss guy. I don't actually know what's beyond, I think, stage 40 or something like that, because I normally don't play through it. But at the same time, let's go ahead and start simple. So we're actually going to be killing slime. So I'm going to have some fun and pick some random mons. Screw it now. I just want to go through it very quickly. So yeah, that'll work. So basically, you're able to set up your teams to whatever you actually want. So you'd be like, oh, hey, I want to use these mons and stuff like that. Selecting them is kind of annoying because you have to scroll through everything. So when you have like 200 mons like I do, you're like, I don't know which ones to use because sometimes you don't actually have specific content to go through. And so these beginning fights are going to go super, super easy. And they just kind of go up. And I have it on 3 times speed, by the way. So if you actually want to go down to 1 time speed, it's like super, super slow. And I'm not used to it. And last time I did a video on Monster Super League, people were yelling at me for having it not on 3 times, which was hilarious. So I think I should actually play through 1 or 2 of those. Just at 1 time because it's kind of funny. I did notice on some endgame PvP stuff they actually have a time limit. And they actually made the time limit speed up when you use the multiplier, which is actually kind of cool. I thought that was interesting. So you actually had a reason to slow down the game, which was nice. Next stage. So we're actually just going to blow straight through these. I've been playing this game for a while, and so I have a lot of decently leveled mons. I should pick somebody that I need to level, though, because I will get experience. So as you're playing through stages, you actually get experience for each one that you actually finish. And so basically, I should probably be picking mons that I actually want to have leveling up and stuff like that, especially for these earlier stages, since we're just going to blow right through them. I don't think I'm ever going to use Grass Indra, but I may as well just take him, and then I'll have 1 powerful mon, just in case there's one that they can't actually kill, just because that's how it goes. This is one of those games where once you actually build like a solid team, you can clear like 90% of the content with that one team, which is a problem with monster collections in general, especially with games like the more simpler ones, like let's say Pokemon, for example. They have problems to where basically one kind of set team will just absolutely demolish everything. And so, yeah, I'm making it a little bit more interesting by making it so that I'm actually using some more underpowered mons. By the way I'm going to be splitting up these episodes and stuff like that, I think I'm going to do it so that there's like, we're going to clear this many stages or whatever, or that's how I'm going to title it. I don't think I'm going to do a parts thing with this. So if you're looking for a very specific stage, we can actually look up there. I don't know how many people that won't know Monster Super League will actually look at this. So there's that. So as you see, when this Grass Indra attack, I think it's Grass Indra, or Wood Indra, sorry, they call it Wood in this game. I believe he has a stun, and so we can actually stun the Mon, and this is how the status effects and stuff like that work. And so basically, different Mons will have different status effects that you can end up applying, and so that's what it's about, like, building your team about. It's not so much about them just having raw power. Like, yes, there is a raw power stat, stuff like that. They have these things that are called natural stars, and so basically they have star ratings you'll see at the top, and so you can increase their star rating, but they always have, like, a nat rating. And so like Nat 5s are the strongest you can get, and they have the highest base stats, and so they can actually excel to be the strongest Mons in the game. Some of them don't have very useful abilities, and that's actually what's interesting about it, is like even if you have a 5-star, if his abilities aren't something you need, it's not something that's actually useful. The game also has elements and stuff like that as well. So you have your fire, water, and wood, and basically, you know, they deal damage in kind of a circular motion. And then you also have, I think it will show it in the loading screen too, or it actually showed it in the Mon selection screen as well. So you can actually see it, I believe, on the left side of the screen. I don't ever pay attention to it because I don't need to know it because it's pretty simple. And then light and dark actually deals more damage to each other instead of actually being the roundabout table that you would see in most of these styles of games. So that's actually fairly interesting. Also, these Mons are super weak. I have no gems on any of them, I don't think. You can actually equip gems to make them more powerful and stuff like that. And I don't think I have them gemmed. My Fire Wild Fang here, though, which is this girl with the claws. I forget, you can't see my mouse, and so I maybe should have turned on the mouse for that just so that I could actually show things. Made it a little bit more complicated on myself than it needed to be. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Regardless, yeah, so it's one of those things to where, you know, I have one Mon that's like super powerful, even though, like, even if they were the same level or whatever, you can equip these gems, and these gems add in like percentage-based stats and stuff like that, and so basically you can make one Mon. If you like a Mon specifically and you're like, oh, hey, I like the monkey dude, you can beef him up to actually be useful in most of the content. There's only very specific things to where it might not be useful. And so there's things like Titan battles, which is like where you fight this giant, large Titan and you need a lot of stats for it. There's also Colossal Dungeons, which you somewhat need a specialized team for because it's like endgame content. Maybe I'll play through that some other time. If I don't die on the game yet. I am really worried about this game becoming super pay to win, though, because there's already some questionable stuff going on with some of its stuff. The pay to win thing, basically, they have some subscription thing, basically, and it straight up adds stats. They're like, they didn't even like hide it. They're like, yeah, this gives you 10% boost stats in the clan versus clan PvP that they added. And I'm like, oh, like they were just so super blatant about it, too. And it's like, yeah, this is pay to win. Like, at least they didn't hide it. They were like true about it, but like, pay to win always gives me a sour mouth. I hate pay to win in games. I always think it's kind of annoying how every freaking mobile game has to have some pay to win element. Luckily, this game is one of those ones where you can progress through without ever having to worry about it. But at the same time, it's super, super annoying. I should put on 2 powerful Mons, actually. The way it works is you get experience for the fight, and it depends on how many waves you clear or whatever. But when you have a maximum leveled Mon in your party, it will actually give those stats or the experience they would get to the other Mons that need experience. And so normally it's optimal to just have one of them. Oh, hey, we get to fight a light boss now. So I'm going to completely murder. I'm going to use Gem and Mia. People get so mad that I built a Gem and Mia. It's hilarious because she's not very good, but I like her. It's kind of funny looking. They have a lot of different Mons, by the way. There's like 300 or something like that. And then there's also variants of each one. There's quite a few. I know a lot of these games like to have like ridiculous amounts of them. And they're like, oh yeah, we've got 10,000 different characters. But they end up being like soft variants of each other. This game focuses more on having a little bit less character variety, but having more variety in like gameplay and stuff like that. And so actually, you know, each character has these different abilities that are actually quite useful on their own. And so you're never like sitting there like, oh, well, this character looks exactly like this other one or whatever. It's actually one of those cases to where even the variants within the same one, so there would be like, let's say the Sun Wukong, for example, which is on the right side of my screen, you know, he'll have a variant for each different element, and each one has like slight modifications to it. And so I believe he has different hairstyles in each one. So there's like some slight variation at least, but mostly what it comes down is to the abilities. And so the Water Wukong will actually have things like lifesteal. And so both of his abilities will steal life from the enemies. And then, so that's actually useful for things like sustain. So if you're going up against tough enemies that are going to be dealing a lot of damage constantly, or smaller amounts of damage constantly, you can use his abilities to kind of keep him healed up and just kind of power through it. It also makes it so that he actually has a higher attack stat as well. He's actually pretty dang strong. So he's the one I'm currently working on building right now. And I'm also working on a few other mons as well. But there's also Wood Wukong, which has defense down, which lowers the enemy's defenses, so you can actually deal more additional damage, which is actually also quite dang useful. And they're not the only ones that have those abilities. There's tons of mons that have things like defense down and things like that, like Mio, or whatever they call it. They call the Evo 3, I think, Horon. It does the thing to where basically you evolve them as well, and so it's Monster Collection. People mostly know Pokemon for Monster Collection because that's the most popular one, that especially that came up around the 90s. But essentially, like, they have the whole evolve system, and so the more you get, you can combine them, and then they get into better versions. And so what you see here on these mons is like not Evo 1. Actually, I think he's Evo 1. Or did I get into Evo 2? I don't remember. No, he's Evo 1, and then we could actually go and evolve him. I'm going to do that real quick, actually, because I think I have the resources for it. And so if I go in here, I can actually go to... Oh my god, I have to find him real quick. Where is he? I'm going to miss him because I'm recording right now and I can't see the entire screen 100%. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's Evo 1. There's what the Evo 2 looks like, so we can actually look at how they look. Oh god, it's going to make me scroll through that. Never mind. Whatever. We're going to go through here. One thing that is nice about this game, though, is the fact that... Oh, he's variant, too. I completely forgot about that. What is his clan variant? Oh, in clan battles? I guess. Increased critical hit damage. So clan battles is probably going to be referring to the Titan, not the clan versus clan. Or it might actually count for that. If it does, I'm going to start using him for clan versus clan. Anyways, I have... Oh, I only have one water? Okay, so what you can do is you can actually either add in variant or, you know, other variants of himself. I'm not going to do that because these guys are super rare, so I'm trying to hold on to as many as I can. Or you can use gleams to level them up. And then what that will do is it'll give him bonus stats, and it will also evolve him, so he can evolve into Evo 3. So he's the Evo 1, Evo 2, and Evo 3. They don't have as big of a drastic of a change, but if I go to somebody like this guy, so he starts out as a little bird, and he's a bigger bird, and then he's Omega Bird. And so they actually have some cool evolutions there, I think. God, why don't I have more? I think I can get one more through my PvP stuff, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I will deal with that. Go away, Bingo. I will do that later. Yeah, there is bingo, by the way, so if you ever want to do bingo on this game, there's bingo every day the longer you play. It's basically, the game rewards you for logging in every day, and it also rewards you for, you know, continuously playing. And so if you have the game open long enough, you actually get those bingo rewards, and it gives you a bunch of bonus items and things like that, which is quite nice. I actually like it. It's one of those things to where the game constantly rewards you for playing, unlike most mobile games, to where if you play for too long... I'm going to go ahead and switch down to 2 times, by the way, because we're getting to the point to where I'm not going to start one-shotting everything all the time, and so it's actually going to be a little bit nicer to see the animations kind of flow through it. When I actually play the game, I like 2 times, because I feel like when it's on 1 times, like, this is super slow. Like, it just feels god-awful. Like, even, like, when I first started the game, 1 times felt really slow. 2 times feels like the right gameplay balance, and so it's like that one spot to where it's like, all right, this feels like it's going at a decent speed, but it's not going so slow that I can't, like, use the continuum to kind of, like, time my attacks, because there's actually timed attacks you can do as well. And so basically when 2 mons hit at the same time, they will deal additional damage, and so you actually get a little combo bonus. And so later on, you can actually use that to get just that little bit of damage in, which is always super, super nice, and actually comes quite useful, especially when the first time you're actually running through content. I've actually been talking to, because I'm in a clan right now, and we just did a big merger or whatever, and so we're in a different clan now, and there's actually a lot of newer players inside their Discord and stuff like that. And so in that Discord, they're all talking about, you know, like, oh, hey, how do I do this, and how do I beat this, and that sort of thing, and every once in a while, the subject comes up of like, oh, are you actually, like, comboing your attacks, like, using them at the same time? And getting that little combo bonus, because it actually does quite a bit. Also, I realized I didn't switch my Mons. I should have switched to Mons that attack faster because they do have a different attack speeds. And this is one of the things about it too, is that when you get up to the higher stages, your kind of building goes around the idea of auto running. And so there is an auto button here, so I can just hit auto and they will automatically fight the fight for me. So they just automatically attack and use their abilities and things like that. And so, yeah, also there is 2 different abilities. You'll notice the blue bar at the bottom, that's actually an SP bar. And so when that fills up, they're able to use their special skill. And so different Mons will have different special skills and things like that. Most of the time, the special skill is an AoE skill, and so it's really useful for like clearing out a wave and stuff like that. But I generally tend to save it until it's actually very useful. But when it's autoing, it will just use it automatically, which is something that you kind of go around. So when you're building teams for auto running, you can actually look at like, okay, how are these abilities going to interact? For example, there's a sleep ability to where if you actually put something to sleep, if something else hits it, then it will just outright wake up, which means that that ability was completely useless. And so it's like kind of one of those things to where it's like, all right, maybe I don't want to put sleep into a team that's actually going to have a lot of quick attackers, because then they'll get put to sleep from that ability, and then or slow attackers, sorry. And then the slow attackers will end up hitting it afterwards and just kind of negating the fact that it even did damage in the first place, or even did the effect in the first place. And so, you know, sleep will prevent them from attacking their next turns or whatever, or how many turns the effect goes on. And so it's quite useful to actually have on when you're manually running things. But you can also kind of look at that and be like, oh, well, this Mon attacks really, really slowly, but they have like a really high chance to put them into sleep. And then you can kind of organize that and be like, oh, well, I want to put it with all these fast attackers, and then these fast attackers will attack really, really quickly and get their damage in before that enemy gets put to sleep, and then they get put to sleep afterwards. And so it's like, oh, hey. You know, one of those things is kind of always nice. I think Gem and Mia has sleep on them as well. They're like one of the smaller Mons, I think. Because they are Evo 3. They are like straight up Evo 3. The other ones are Evo 3 as well, but they're like super tall in comparison to her. I'm going to be swapping her out. We got some grass boss here. I'm going to go ahead and use Light Vic for increased damage. So there's different Mons with different variant abilities as well. And so you'll notice a little color thing there. You can actually change up the colors. It's just like variants and things like Pokemon or whatever. And so basically, they will have different sort of bonuses when they're actually a variant. So there's actually like a gameplay effect to having variants. And they'll get bonus stats to all of your party members. And so Light Victoria here gives me increased attack power, which is nice when I'm using people with crazy attack power. I don't know if these guys were the best ones to pick. I normally would just be bursting through this with Light Vic, Wood Odin, Fire, Wild Fang, and then some other Mon. Probably usually Shinobi, Water Shinobi, unless I'm using something else, like unless I'm fighting a boss that's like grass or something like that, like this one. Water Shinobi has this useful ability to where, I was talking about elemental bonuses earlier, to where basically you deal extra damage to Mons of the proper elements. And so water will do more to fire, fire does more to wood, and wood does more to water, or whatever. Except for Water Shinobi and a few other Mons as well, they have this thing called Elemental Edge, which basically makes it so that their attacks, no matter what element they're attacking, will count as the opposite element. And so it's actually quite useful for dealing massive damage to certain Mons, and it just makes them really nice for any style of content. And so it's really good to just have there to kind of burst through. And I'm going to try to use a Water Mon to kill him. Is it going to do enough damage? Oh, it's up. Oh, wow. How many health is that? I want to know how much health that is. It's literally empty. There are no pixels with any color. By the way, I'm running this on an emulator, and for some reason, mobile games, they always don't render at full resolution, so it kind of looks pixely to me. I have no idea if that's going to be visible on the YouTube or not, because technically, YouTube's getting a downsampled version because I'm recording in 1440, except, well, no, I'm recording in 1920 by 1080, but the screen is 1440, and so it might not actually look that bad for once on the YouTube. It might actually look better on YouTube than it will on my actual monitor. Now there's a bunch of light and dark Mons, so I could actually switch to somebody that has light and dark. Can't remember if they have stuns or not, but I don't think it matters. So I'm going to go ahead. Oops. I didn't want to swap him out because I'm leveling him. Where are you? Where are you in my list? This is the problem with having so many. You can't put them in storage. Where is he? Oh, there he is. You can put them into storage, but then you can't actually use them in content. And so I'll bring out Water Shinobi. There we go. I believe I had him at the start when we were fighting. I don't remember. But yeah, you can't put them in storage, but then they can't actually be used for content. So you'll go into a stage and be like, oh, he's in storage, and then I gotta go grab him or whatever. And so I just use storage for Mons that I just have no use for in content. Just kind of ignore them. That's really what I do with it. I used to be trying to store one of every single Mon, but I kind of ran out of storage because I said there was like 300, and you only get about 300 slots. And so when you actually add in all the variants and stuff like that, whoops, I attacked the wrong element with that one. Whoops, oh well, I'm still going to murder them one shot. That's fine. This has just been me just kind of blasting through this content because the beginning stage of this, not particularly difficult, unfortunately. But I think on the next episode, we will actually have some more damaging stuff going on because I won't be so overpowered when we start getting to that stages. So basically, next time we'll actually go through stage 12 out of 70. This might actually take longer than I thought it would. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the rest of the series and my other styles of content as well. I think for this Let's Play stuff, I'm just going to be short on the outro. So see you guys in the next video, I guess. I still don't know how to Let's Play. I've been doing Let's Plays forever, and I still don't know how to do it properly. Yeah, whatever.